The most significant guitar cab since the Marshall 4x12. That's what I'm claiming. I'm going to stand by that. Have you heard of us? Have you been introduced to us by some sort of algorithm? Did someone else send you here? I do not know. But I'm Alex from Barefaced, and we make a really incredible piece of kit, which is multiple pieces of kit, which is our range of AVD guitar cabs. That stands for Augmented Vent Diffractor. Now, this is not pseudoscience. This is not, it's not hocus pocus. This is not arty-farty rubbish. This is proper acoustic engineering. That's why we got a patent. And I would like to be clear, this is a UK patent. And the reason that is significant is the UK IPO is very stringent on patents being technical things, not essentially visual artistic things. So for instance, you couldn't have an argument about what an iPad looks like. You can't patent the look of an iPad in the UK, but you could patent the look of an iPad or a tablet like an iPad in the US, which is why Apple took, was it Samsung to court? Anyway, you can't do that in the UK. Patents are functional things. It would be copyrights or maybe trademarks, I think, on visual things. But anyway, patents are functional things, and this is a functional thing, and it is very hard to invent a new type of loudspeaker cabinet. We've done it, and it doesn't really matter what it is or how it does it. What matters is that it does it really, really well. It does something very special with guitar, and we've been selling these for 3 or 4 years, something like that. There's a few thousand out there around the world. We have a small business, we sell direct, we do things very differently in every way. And I think we've had maybe 2 customers who haven't liked them. Yeah, we have a 1-month trial period for customers within Europe, so if you don't like it, you send it back. If you're further afield than that, unfortunately, the shipping costs become a bit prohibitive for sending it back. But what we have found is our cabs hold their value really well, so it's not like some massive gamble where all the money you've spent on it is going to vanish. You will sell it for not a lot less than you paid for it, which is really nice. It shows the belief in what we're doing. I've got 2 of them down here, both of them with custom Tolex. Here's an Upsetter 110 and that's what's different, yeah? So if you've been on this channel for a while, you know what this is. But please, if you do know what this is, tell other people about it, people who play guitar. If you're a bassist, talk to guitarists about it, because if you're a bassist, you hang around with the guitarists. If you're a guitarist, get one and tell other people about it. This is our Reformer 112, also custom Tolex. This has got an Alnico cream in it, so it's a slight cutout, slight variation on the AVD to fit the Alnico in. But basically, sound comes off the front of your speaker, but also the sound coming off the back of your speaker goes through this slot, which diffracts it and spreads it round the room. And because rooms are reflective spaces, and the way the human ear works is we hear multiple things, but the brain then does a load of processing and sticks together sounds that are similar and arrive within a similar time frame. Longer time frames, they turn into echoes, but if you make an echo close enough, it just becomes part of the original sound. And our brains are very good at tidying things up. Otherwise, if we were speaking in a reverberant space, we wouldn't really be able to understand what everyone else was saying. It has to be a really long, messy reverb for that to become a problem. And because guitar speakers are big 12-inch cone, but are working up to frequencies that get very small, so short wavelengths, they are very directional. However, the sound coming out of the back, yes, off the back of the cone it's directional, but once it's come through the AVD, we basically removed a lot of the directionality by diffracting it, splitting it through this slot. So you take a wavelength bigger than that slot through it, and out it goes sideways. This size of the AVD add gain, they couple the sound of the room better, and then at low frequencies, this acts as a Helmholtz resonator, so your little guitar cab has a bigger, weightier, fuller sound. And we obviously want to spread the word about this. 2 reasons. One, I like running this business. Now, thankfully, we are busy. We have plenty of orders and we have a nice long queue. But then again, if we had more orders, we could expand the business and therefore maybe shorten the queue and make more stuff, and yeah, that would be cool. And I really like how when people use our cabs, they find they don't just sound better, but it sounds better to the whole band, and just gigs go better. There's less hassle getting a good sound live. There's less hassle getting a good sound at home, so it's just more fulfilling playing guitar through our cabs, because you will know that unless you're standing in the perfect space, your guitar doesn't really sound like it should. I noticed that on YouTube, people are always demoing gear, and they put an SM57, you know, here, pointing at the cone and go, this is what it sounds like. It's like, that's not what it sounds like to you. That's what it sounds like to a microphone that sounds like an SM57 in that exact spot. We don't hear that. We hear the sound that's coming off in all the directions, and a lot of the sound you hear off a guitar cab isn't the sound that's come straight to your ear, not unless you do this with it. It's the sound that's gone off it and bounced around the room and come back at you. But because the sound off the front of it is very directional, the stuff that goes off sideways doesn't sound like the stuff that's going off forwards. So those reverberant sounds don't sound like that one, and it actually muddies up your tone. But the sound coming off the back of this, because of the way this harvests all the sound off the back of the cone and then spreads all of that, the sound off the back that reflects around the room and comes back to you is much more like the ideal tone of all the sounds off the cone added together. Now, what has been interesting is that when I invented this, I was like, this is, as I said before, the most significant guitar cab since the Marshall 4x12. If you know the history of this, you'll know the Marshall 4x12 wasn't the original of that lot. It was the Marshall 812, built for Pete Townsend, and the roadies hated that so much it was split into two 412s. That was significant because it allowed rock music to get loud and do that thing. It changed the game. No one's really cared about speakers. They've cared about speakers, but, well, and that's been kind of incidental. I've noticed with YouTube and such like, people are talking more about speakers changing your sound, because they really, really do. Because don't forget, when you're playing electric guitar plugged in, the only thing that makes any sound is the speaker. The rest of it, we're just talking about electricity, right? The speaker turns the electricity into sound, and speakers are very bad at turning electricity into sound. Guitar speaker is about as efficient as it gets, but still it turns about 98% of that electricity into heat and 2% of it into sound. And most of that sound it sends in the wrong direction. So we're trying to help you with that. We're trying to get the right sound to you wherever you are in the room, because you're never in the right place. You might be occasionally, but not when you move slightly. And the rest of your band aren't, the audience aren't. And it doesn't become a problem with bleed-through microphones being more effective at dispersing the sound, because the bleed is more consistent, so you just get less mud, less confusion, and better tone. So I thought this is going to change the world. And it should, but it's happening quite slowly, and I'd like it to happen a bit faster, because I would like more people to have a great gigging experience, like I'm hearing back from the people who are using our gear. They're raving about it. We will get better at uploading the masses of positive feedback that we've got, because we have been very bad at that, and there's just a lot to do. Probably about half, 2/3 of our customers who've got a cab from us send us an excited email, might be more than that, saying this is amazing. So then there's just we sell quite a lot of stuff, so there's quite a lot to do, and there's not a lot of us here, and we're busy making things and making videos. But the point I was meaning to make, and I keep diverging from, there's websites out there, there are YouTube channels, there are podcasts, there thankfully still are magazines, which I'm glad about. I like magazines a lot. It's nice having a bit of paper and not being glued to a screen. But none of them really have any interest in guitar cabs. They like guitars, they like pedals, they like amps. They like amps with cabs, they like combos, and they'll even sometimes talk about speakers now. That's, as I said, that's quite a new thing. I'm getting concerned that my head is blending into the F. It's a bit weird, that, isn't it? But I did get in touch with some magazines a few years ago, and they basically went, no one cares about guitar cabs. But the reason no one cares about guitar cabs is no one has actually done anything better about guitar cabs. They just make them... Oh, one other funny thing about these. They're light, but that's not what's significant about them. Look, it's a one thumb lift. I'm doing one finger lift. One finger lift. Little finger. Yeah, the lightness makes it really nice for gigging, so they sound better despite being lighter, but the lightness is, to me, it's incidental. I don't really care. I quite like lifting heavy things, but you guys probably disagree and would like, yes, I'm going to get that because it's light. Get it because it's light, and then email us and tell us that actually what's great about it is it sounds better than everything you've ever used. It works better in the real world, and your bandmates love it and have told you never to bring another guitar cab, because that's what happens. But yeah, I would really love some of the YouTube channels, the podcasts, the magazines, to try these. So tell me who needs to try this. If you're one of those people who's been directed to this video, get in touch. You know, we would love to share these with you. We want to enlighten people about how and why this stuff is better, and the best way you can understand why is to hear it. I mean, it's incredible. One magazine did an article about the cabs. Guitarists, I think so. We really appreciated that. They didn't review it as such because they said we don't have a slot for reviewing guitar cabs because no one does guitar cabs. And one non-guitar magazine, Sound on Sound, which if you know about pro audio, especially studio stuff, you know that Sound on Sound is one of the greatest magazines, possibly the greatest magazine in that field. They know their stuff. They've been going a long time. They do great interviews. They do great technical articles. They really know things. They reviewed our guitar cab. They don't normally review guitar cabs. They said it was the most incredible guitar cab they'd ever tried and gave it a Gear of the Year award, even though they don't really have a category for guitar cabs. So that was amazing. So yeah, listen to Sound on Sound. Find the review, find the Gear of the Year thing on the internet. And if you want someone out there who does a podcast, who has a YouTube channel, who runs a site with loads of news in it, who runs a magazine, tell us, tell them, let's get some momentum, and let's get more people understanding why the AVD cab is the most significant guitar cab since the Marshall 4x12. Thank you. We will change the world, maybe, slightly, in a better place. Let's just make it sound a bit better. We can't fix all the other problems, but surely, surely, we can make it sound better. And when I say sound better, it's not really about tone, it's about music. Make the tone better, make the sound better, make the music happen better. And that is it, isn't it? And then we feel better. Or we feel worse, but we feel worse in a good way because we wanted to feel bad because we were feeling sad, and it's helped us deal with our emotions. I will stop talking now. Goodbye.